lots of good cooks and lots of good food and wonderful recipes too. But for a meal that makes folks smile, there's one thing you must do. Cook it with love. Cook it with love. Cook it with love. Love is a great ingredient, the best that we can find. The simplest meal that's cooked with love will nourish. Hello, and welcome to another Cooking with Tasha. And I can show you here that you really don't even need a kitchen to make delicious, easy, wonderful, delicious, I should say that twice, nutritious, and that's what I meant to say, food. Now, what I'm doing here today is I got a chicken from the market that I thought we would use to demonstrate 3 different chicken recipes or uses of this chicken. It's possible to feed at least 2 people 3 meals on this chicken, and perhaps even more. I don't know about you and your appetites and things like that. Now, you may notice I'm setting aside some parts of the chicken. It happens that my beloved doesn't care much for the dark meat, so we will find another use for these. I might put them in the soup. I might just give them to my neighbor who likes chicken and eats the dark meat that I don't care for, or whatever. But in any case, I will use the secondary meat, which is very tender, in the creamed chicken. Creamed chicken. Now there you go. It sounds bad, doesn't it? It sounds like, ooh, cream. I don't know why I want that. Well, it's not creamed at all. It doesn't have any milk in it. It has some butter, but you can even do without that if you don't want any dairy at all. And I am cutting up the pieces of chicken here to ultimately make into a very nice creamed, as I said, chicken, or a chicken in a white sauce. This is probably a better way to say it. All of the bits that I'm not using are going to go into the soup. I want you to know that. And here we go. We're going to take one side of this chicken and use it for the chicken in white sauce with mushrooms, mind you, with mushrooms. See, the bones. That's one of the important things to put in your soup. You get minerals from the bones. So don't throw out the bones until after you have put them in your soup. And don't, of course, give them to your pets. You know that. Not a good idea at all. But, you know, wrap them up nicely and dispose of them in your trash. And after you have used them in the soup. These little chickens are relatively inexpensive, especially if you can find them on sale. There's another bit of bone for the soup. And the white meat, of course, is very tasty. And that's what we're going to put in our chicken in white sauce with mushrooms. I'm also going to start my little hot plate. We have to have some source of heat here. And I'm going to now make the mushrooms. Now I can also show you something you might not know about mushrooms, and that is you want to use less butter or oil. You can cook them in either, but I'm going to use butter. Less butter, because then the mushrooms will release their own juice. So I'm really only using less than a tablespoon of butter here. And I'm going to cut up the mushrooms, get them ready to saute. So I can do both at the same time. As you can see, this is a very fast way to fix a meal. You can pick up the chicken on your way home and have your dinner ready These are nice clean mushrooms from the market. No need to wash them really. You can brush them off if you need to, if there's anything on them. But they really are pretty clean right there. And mushrooms don't require washing, in my opinion. I'm sure that there are people who will wash them anyway, because they happen to be very liquidy, and I don't care for the way that it affects the flavor to wash them. But you must do it your way, of course, and that's just mine. One of the nice things about cooking is that you can do it just about any way you like. So this is about enough mushrooms for now. And butter is melted, and what have I done with my little spoon here? Oh, here it is. So I will turn these into the pan. Whoops. Whoops. Oh dear. Well, we'll get that later. Oh. What we're doing here is sauteing the mushrooms. Now, maybe I should move this closer to the front so that you can see it better. There, would that work? Probably do this. There we go. There. Now, you can see. Actually, that's easier for me because now I can attend to the chicken. So you can see I use very little butter here because I didn't use as much as a whole box of mushrooms. I think it's 12 ounces. I probably use maybe 6, maybe 8 at the most. And I have these, I'm cooking them on relatively high heat. The idea is for the mushrooms to release their juice, okay? Now, they'll only do that once they've used up what was in the, what was in the pan, of course, which is why you don't put in very much butter or oil, as the case may be. I use olive oil a lot in cooking. I happen to appreciate the flavor of the butter in the mushrooms. Don't use a lot of butter, but in my daily life, but I do like it for flavor. So you can even combine, if you want to, butter and olive oil in your dish. So here we go. And we're getting close to cooking them. Now, of course, if you're cooking at home, now see what's happening here. The mushrooms are releasing their juice. See, now we used up all the butter, and now the mushrooms are releasing their juice, and they will taste better as a result when you put them in. Of course, it's perfectly simple to take this chicken and slice it up and serve it with a bought salad or anything else you want. But I'm giving you an alternative to the chicken plain that I think your family will really enjoy and appreciate. And the other thing I'm going to make when I finish this is a bit of chicken salad for you. Okay, now let's take this off the fire and turn it all the way up, and then we're going to put in another bit of butter. Well, 2, okay? We're using 2 tablespoons of butter. Here we go. And then I have flour with me. Where did I put it? Somewhere. Here it is. I have flour, and I'm just going to get my wire whip. Whoops, sorry about the noise, folks. Here we go. Now then, these are very good for sauces. This particular one is a funny shape. I got it at a yard sale. And it's kind of neat, you know, but a round one is fine. And so I'm melting the butter here.
I'm giving it a bit of an assist. I'm going to turn this down because I don't want to burn the butter. All right, once I add the water, I will turn it back up again. I want you to see also how nice this looks. If you can, see how they made all this juice? Just those few mushrooms in there and a little bit of butter. But the butter has been absorbed and created the beautiful juice of the mushrooms. So here we go. Now, I'm using, to 2 tablespoons of butter, I'm using 4 tablespoons of flour, okay? And for this, you just use any kind of flour you want. I happen to use white spelt flour, but that's because I use spelt in cooking instead of wheat. It's just as good for me, and it's less inflammatory. Okay, now, you see what happens is, you want to absorb the butter. The flour has to absorb into the butter. And then you pour in the liquid. Now, you're not browning the butter here. Sometimes you might be browning the butter. Now, see how quickly that happens? Almost immediately. This is why you need the whip. Almost immediately, the flour and the butter and the liquid make a thick like paste. So that's why you need the wire whip. And look how that's coming. Ooh, very nice, very nice. Okay. See how it thickens up? You want to get the lumps out though. Oh, you know, if you don't get all the lumps out, you can always strain it too. But it does serve you better to have. I'm incidentally using here 2 cups of the liquid. I may not need all of it. I haven't decided yet. Let's see how I've done about 1.5 here. Maybe, yeah, about 1.5. Okay, and see how thick you want it. Now, if you want a thick gravy, this is good thick gravy. Okay, but right now it won't have much taste. You know, just a little bit of flour and butter. But wait and see what happens here. First, we're going to add the mushrooms. So let's say to the 2 cups, I should say to the 2 tablespoons of butter and the 4 tablespoons of flour, you can add up to 2 cups of water, depending on how thick you want things. And I may add more water still when I see how this is coming along. Now then, another thing we're going to add is some salt and pepper. And then if you want to add herbs, you can add herbs. You don't need much salt, you know, just a little for the flavor. And then you can put in more when you want to later. I'm going to turn that way down. Okay. Pepper. Some people would use white pepper because they didn't want the black specks, I guess. I don't know. But I'm not that fussy. Now, this is still pretty thick, so let's add a little more of this water. Here again, you don't, by now, you won't need the wire whip because it's, the lumps are all gone. You have to be diligent, though, with the wire whip so you don't end up with lumps. As I said, you can always strain them out if you don't. But once you put the ingredients in, of course, you cannot do that. Now, we are adding the chicken, which I have cut up, as you saw me. And here we are, you know, voila. What you want to do here, you've got enough chicken there for quite a few people, actually. I think you could feed four appetites on that, using more chicken, of course. Use 1 whole side of the chicken, and you can figure you fed at least 4 people, and at least I would. And you can, of course, use rice to put it over. Now, here's another thing that I would do with this if I wanted to, and probably that's what I'll do when I get home. More water, okay. I might add a bit of thyme. I have some. Why don't I put that in? think that would be good. We're going to add some thyme here. That is really one of my favorite herbs. The reason is because it is so good for your immune system. Now, I've got a lot here, and you know, some people might say, ooh, look how much she's putting in. But you know, I might not put it all in. Let's wait and see. Some I might put back, we don't know. Let's see. So, you know, you can do it to taste, but it's very good in chicken. It's good in other things too, but as I started to say, thyme stimulates your immune system. So when you use it in cooking, you're doing your body a favor to help your immune system cope better with things like germs and summer colds and winter colds and whatever else you might be liable to have happen to you. So anyway, we're going to let that cook a little bit, and that's all finished. See how quick? Took us very little time, and could take you even less. Because you wouldn't be talking and waving your forks around and things like that. Okay, now we're going to cut some more chicken off, and now we're going to make it a chicken salad. Okay, chicken salad, another thing, very easy to make and very simple. Now, I like my chicken salad with curry powder. I don't know if you've tried that or not. I think it's delicious. And of course, you can be very, very good, and you can make your own curry powder, which I have done. Or you can get delicious curry powder at the store, and that's also a nice way to do it. Notice I am throwing all the little bits and pieces here into my bowl so that I can make a nice soup out of the remains. That's one of the reasons why I like to get these chickens, because I make a good soup, which I'm also going to talk about. But for now, we're doing the salad. Now then, okay. Yes. Now the easy way to do it is to cut it all off and then make it smaller. And chicken salad is wonderful to take on a picnic, or, you know, eat, make your own picnic at home if you like. Sit outside, enjoy the scenery. Hopefully there won't be any thunderstorms. And you can have fun with your chicken that way. I do like the use of chicken. I find that chicken is a very helpful creature to have. And I'm also delighted whenever the market puts one on sale. Now I'm going to put a little bit of the dark meat in, because it's nice and juicy. If somebody absolutely insists on no dark meat, well, they aren't really going to notice it in the curry. They aren't even going to know. So there we go. Every little bit that isn't good, the skin and whatever, will add something to the soup, you see. That's the whole thing. You have a good potential there, or tasty soup, and tasty chicken with mushrooms. Oh, I started to say, you can take that chicken with mushrooms and you can make it into a casserole very simply. Just have some rice already cooked and put it, a layer of rice on the bottom of your casserole dish. Some people say grease the casserole. I think with all the gravy in there, you probably don't need to. Save a few calories that way. And then let the chicken with gravy and mushrooms and things go on top of that, and then put some more rice on top of it. And then you can pour a little bit of chicken broth over if you want to add, or you could reserve some of your sauce and pour it over. It's nice that way. So we are getting to the end of our little chicken here. we've got quite a lot in here for the chicken salad. And I'm going to show you what else I do. I suppose, you know, there are many things you can put into a chicken salad. Walnuts are very good. I meant to bring some. And incidentally, I have been reading about walnuts. Oh boy, they are one of the very good sources of the omega-3, and they are so tasty. And you know what? I've been using them as a diet help. I have been eating a few walnuts before a meal, and lo and behold, I'm less hungry, and I'm not hungry afterwards, as sometimes you might be if you're trying to, well, you know, reduce a bit, lose a couple, slim down. Got to use. Okay, so look, now we have a chicken, little chicken carcass, and we're going to put that in there. And when the time comes for soup, what I actually usually do is I usually break it up, and anything that's left on it will go into the soup. Now then, you can also save some of your chicken for the salad and put it into the soup if you want to, or you can put the legs in. You know, you can do just about anything you want. But see what I'm doing here? See all that nice juice is going in there? Yes, indeed. Now, I'm going to set this off to one side because I don't want to use it with my vegetables. And I also have a little of the juice from the chicken itself. That's going to go in there too. I could also put it into my chicken in sauce if I wanted to. Either way, it's all good. Now, okay, so we have a bowl of cut up chicken, and I'm going to address the next thing, and that's my celery. Now, I can see that we're getting a little bit down on time, okay? So I want to talk a bit more about what I'm going to put into the chicken soup, or stew, as the case may be. First of all, I don't use a lot of water. Now, where's that nice red knife of mine? I brought that for... Where did you go? Not finding it. Well, I use this. So what you want to do, oh, there it is. Okay. So what you want to do, this is better for that, is you've got, in fact, what I'll do is I'll put this in here so you can see better. All right. Now, here we go. Okay. Very good. Now, you see, got the chicken in there. And we cut it up fairly small, which is, maybe you like bigger chunks, I don't know. And I also tend to make the celery small because I like, you know, tasting something of it in every bite. Some people like it differently. It's always good to see what works best. I've got this good celery, and another thing I like to do, see what I'm doing? Take the little green stuff, put it in. Oh, it's so flavorful, tasty. Okay. And then there are those who like the hearts of the celery. They're also good in the salad. I'm setting mine aside because I have someone at home who likes the hearts of the celery, and they're good for him. You know, celery helps to reduce blood pressure. It's a diuretic, and people who say that it has, you know, it has sodium in it, but the thing is, the sodium is minor compared with the diuretic effects. So celery cooked and raw is very good in salads, but it's also good as a way of making tasty. Let's see, we'll save that. Maybe put in one more small one. I want one that's younger. I like to use the younger pieces of celery for the chicken salad, and the older pieces of celery for the chicken soup, because that's when you're cooking it. Very simple. And I usually use the celery hearts, especially for the chicken salad. Now, you can use celery, regular celery if you like. It all depends on how much crunch you want, but I tend to use that. Okay, so we've got the celery and we've got the chicken. Now we're going to add an onion. Okay? All right. Now then, what I want to say is, here it is, that you don't need a lot of vegetables, but it's really nice to have the variety. Okay? Put that to one side. So we're going to do this. Yes. So as I am cutting up my onion, I want you to know that what's going to go into the chicken soup is important, and I wanted to tell you and make sure that I get that information to you. Don't, you know, once again, if you don't like raw onion, you don't have to use it. But, you know, if you cut it small and you don't put in too much, it really is very tasty. You don't want to put in too much. And also, you know, the Vidalia onions that are available this time of year, we're talking here summerish, those are wonderful. Or the, you know, salad onions with sweet, they call them sweet onions, are good. It doesn't really matter. It's all personal taste, of course. There we go. Now, we've got the onion in there. Not much. Maybe, you know, half as much onion as celery, probably. Okay, now we're going to do another, add the, here we go. Add the mayonnaise. And here we are. Add the mayonnaise. Once again, you know, however it works for you. You can also dilute some of the mayonnaise with olive oil if you don't like a lot of mayonnaise. You can even probably use olive oil or salad dressing for your chicken salad if you don't like. Many people don't like mayonnaise. It always surprised me because I'm fond of it. And I'm also adding a little bit of horseradish sauce to pick up the taste, give it a little zing, and the curry powder and the pepper. You may not need salt. It's always good to taste things before you add salt anyway. So to get back to my soup, all right, again here, with the curry powder, again, it's a matter of taste. How much do you want? How much do you like? You can always taste it. Ooh, I'm running out. So here we go. We're mixing up the salad, okay? And we've got that in there. And in terms of the stew, chicken soup, look, very important. Turnips and parsnips, carrots and celery, all willy and onion, all delicious in the soup. Cook your stew for about, say, the bones and things, at least an hour, maybe 2 if you like, and get all the minerals out of the bones. And then strain out the bones, get rid of them, and make up a wonderful, delicious chicken soup and have fun. And in the meantime, I hope you'll come by again. And for now, I'll say, bye for now. Cook it with love. Take good care.
Lots of good cooks and lots of good food and wonderful recipes too. But for a meal that makes folks smile, there's one thing you must do. Cook it with love. it with love. Cook it with love. Love is a great ingredient, the best that we can find, the simplest meal that's cooked with love.